So, the movie exercise. I picked this up from somebody just recently. So, write down your favorite movie, TV show, or play, kind of all time. You can pick two, yeah, because one of them might actually fall out when we go to the next step. From that movie, pick your favorite character. That character in that movie, what were they facing as far as the greatest challenge? What was their greater purpose behind themselves being in that movie? There must have been something that they were struggling with. They were put in that movie for some purpose. So write down what that is. What are the characteristics, distinctions, attributes of that character that you most highly admired? There must have been something about that character that you really admired as far as being, why you were drawn to this movie in the first place. And if you wrote two down, this might help you start to hone in on it. If there's one, or if there was a common characteristic between both characters, definitely write that down. And you can expand on this later. Let me tell you what this was about. So there's a good chance that what you wrote down is what you see, is a reflection of yourself. What we see in the world, what we recognize first, are the things that we value the greatest in ourselves. So the point of this exercise is there's probably some element of truth that you can relate. There's a reason why you're relating to this particular character in the movie. And you may not know it right off the bat. It may be something that's fairly deep. But again, if this is the first, and you may think about this exercise a little more, but I came up with, to give you an example of what I did, Twin Peaks. Remember the movie Twin Peaks, the show? Mm-hmm. TV show or movie? Agent Cooper, without a doubt, my favorite character. But what was he doing? He was trying to solve a crime. He was trying to reveal the truth. And what did I most admire about him? The guy was total integrity, total truth. He was a straight shooter. And that's kind of what this whole project for me is about. And that's why I'm so fulfilled with what I'm doing, because we're revealing the truth. And that's why I didn't fit necessarily so well in the corporate world. And it's one of my biggest downfalls in sales is that I always told the truth, even when I shouldn't have. But it's, even as a kid, I always told the truth. And, to me, again, that's reflection. So when I went through this exercise, it really revealed for me, or gave me clarity into why this is such a passion for me. And as we go to the next exercise, what I'm trying to help you guys do is really uncover what your true passion is that you may not be tapping into, because that really is the great fuel. There, at some level, there's something, again, you're drawn to that, and if the world is a reflection of who you are, that's kind of an exaggeration potentially. So
then it comes down to always doing what's right in your heart.
Good. Yeah, that's what you value the most. So that leads to the next question. Write down 5 people, if you can come up with 5 people, that exhibit those traits that you personally either know or is living. And if it's somebody in the movie, I haven't considered that, but I guess we could try to get you to interview the person in the movie. But for the most part, I want you to write down some people that in your mind exhibit that character trait. So obviously these are people that you highly respect.
Real or fictional?
Well, I said think of family, friends, authors, speakers, instructors, leaders. Actually, I wanted these to be people that actually do exist.
Okay.
Because we're gonna come back to this one in a little bit. I touched on these in the presentation, but I was just thinking about if I didn't touch on these, then it would have been hard for me to give credibility to why I'm talking about the next 3 things. So after I talked to these 50 entrepreneurs, what did I see were the common threads? A consuming passion, and it's a kind of passion that feels like an addiction. An impersonal goal, this is a very key distinction, but it's about finding a purpose greater than yourself. And then how do you embrace risk and your ability to shift perspective? This really became clear that these successful entrepreneurs, when the chips were down and things were tough, like right now, they're able to shift their perspective and turn it into something positive, right? I mean, you can look at anything. I gave that example of your job loss, right? You can look at that as a devastation, or you can flip the coin and say, I quit, and now the world is an opportunity for me to do something new. I hated that job anyway. So again, same event, different perspectives. So that's why I talked about shifting perspective. And I shared that once you accept the worst possible outcome, you'll be empowered to take action. So it just the crux of it is when you uncover your true passion, it doesn't feel like work. When you find a purpose greater than yourself, you'll find the key to taking the risks that you need to do. So rediscovering your true passion. So what do you do when you aren't getting paid to do it? What do you do when you lose track of time? What is it that you're doing? And when you've been away from something for a while, what's the first thing, for example, if you go on vacation or you're away from your house for a while, assuming you've got something you love in your house, what's the first thing you go back to the moment you return from an extended departure from whatever it is? And again, a little further tip here is it gives you energy when you do it. It's not draining. It's an energizing activity. No matter how tired you are, it really gives you energy when you start doing it. So this is an exercise if you're still stuck. And I've shared this with people, and a lot of people really like this. It's called the 8-up exercise. And you guys can find ways to use this in way. I'm hoping that each time I share this with people, you guys discover a new way to do this. It doesn't matter what color you got. So take this piece of paper, fold it in half, fold it in half again, and fold it in half one more time so you've got something that looks like this. Okay, now open it up. Now, in the upper left-hand corner, write down the first thing that comes to mind, and we were just talking about passions and things that you love to do. So, just the first thing that's kind of related to your passion that you might put in there. Now that, you can put a circle around that or box that in. That's the central topic. Now that leaves you with 7 more squares. The first thing that comes to mind related to that first topic that you wrote about. So when you wrote down whatever you wrote, what's the next thing that kind of rolls off your tongue related to that first thing you wrote?
Fill out the other boxes.
Yep, just start filling them in. And if there's one that kind of emerges as is for some reason pulling you a little more into...
So I need some more clarification here. Are we talking about something here?
Let's go, yeah.
What are we talking about here?
No, take one of those items from your passion that you wrote down as far as what are you doing, you're not getting paid to do it, what's the first thing you go back to, and let's start with that in the first box.
Oh, okay. I was thinking we were talking about when we got home.
If you're in a situation where you couldn't come up with anything for that page, then my answer to that is write down the first thing that comes to mind. What are you thinking of?
I was thinking about working out at the gym.
Okay, that's a good
where
one.
we're at.
That's fine. You can build off of that one. What's something that's related to working out the gym? So what's the next thing you think about that's related to that?